Hello and welcome to this tutorial where I'll be showing you how to apply a fabric look and feel to a full CMF model. This process involves 5 steps. We'll be exporting a model from SolidWorks, UV unwrapping that model in 3ds Max, creating the bump and diffuse textures using Photoshop, carrying out the displacement of the surface to create this fabric finish using Rhino, and then we will prepare the print job in GrabCAD Print. Please note that this is only one recommended workflow, but there can be many other alternative workflows to achieve the same result. For example, you could displace the model entirely in 3ds Max, or try UV unwrapping and displacing using Blender or many other software packages. Lastly, you can look for additional resources and GrabCAD Print tutorials on our Stratasys Knowledge Center. Okay, so let's begin. We start with a body designed in SolidWorks. Now, since adding a fabric appearance isn't satisfactory in terms of displacement and texture, and also this typically doesn't export well from within SolidWorks, I will export the model as a step file so as to apply UV mapping and to be able to start the adding texture in 3ds Max. .3ds Max, let's first tessellate the model by importing it as a mesh. Since the Z orientation is not the same as in SolidWorks, let's rotate the model. To keep only the top surface for unwrapping, let's remove these unneeded bodies. Next, to avoid having multiple bodies in one texture, I will add materials to the different bodies. I'll convert the model to an editable poly that will allow me to more easily unwrap. Add the UVW unwrap modifier to start unwrapping. Edit UVW, packing all islands to select them for projection. Select all fabric islands. Apply planar projection to set the map up for the top and convert the rest for the upcoming peel operation. Apply planar projection to the rest of the polygons to set them as white later. In order to lock the good mapping in place, deselect everything except for the top-facing polygons on the main wrap. Next, lock the vertices in place so they do not move during the peel operation. Invert the selection and deselect the bottom map to apply automatic peeling to the edges of the fabric map. Uncheck Detach and apply automatic peeling so that the edges do not get deformed. Rearrange the islands. This will make the texturing process easier later on. Finally, export the model as an OBJ so you can apply the texture in Photoshop. Let's open the OBJ we saved earlier. Click Edit Texture, and we will use the Measure Model Size tool to help us set the right texture size. To set the right print size, edit the image size to set the new dimensions. We will now create a new layer that will be used as a guide to project the UV map onto, so we know where each island starts and ends. Once we're done with this guide layer, we can hide it. Next, edit the fabric texture graphics, making sure to look out for uniform lighting, correct size for print, and no stitches. Add white to the inside areas of the UV. This is done to make sure we have the texture on the outside surface of the model only. As bump uses different settings from diffuse, edit the texture to create a bump texture. Add a label at this stage to the part to help with tracking and version control. Create a color variation for the diffuse. Finally, I will export 3 JPEGs to be used in Rhino, which is the next step of our process. In Rhino, let's first load the unwrapped OBJ. Since the Z orientation is different from what we had in Max, let's rotate the model so we have an easy to use working environment. Now let's verify the wrapping and JPEG positioning are all correct by adding the texture to the model. Next, apply displacement to displace the surface according to the bump map JPEG that we exported from Photoshop. Extract the render mesh and hide the original mesh to be able to edit the displacement result. I will take this opportunity to reduce the mesh polygon count to turn this huge file into a workable model. Finally, the model can be exported as an OBJ. For the next step, sending the file to print with GrabCAD Print. Open the OBJ in GrabCAD Print. Since the Z orientation is different from the one we had orientated in Rhino, let's rotate the model again. To avoid having to resave multiple files, edit the material file in Notepad with a new texture. Now let's open the OBJ. Check models to fix any mesh issues before printing. If required, click on Estimate to view the tray estimation details for both model consumption and printing time, And we're done. All that's left to do is to send the file to print by clicking on the print button.